G'day to all my friends and family, and welcome to Jim's 5am Club. I'm just over here on the lawn in front of the Museum of Contemporary Art, and believe it or not, the cloud, it's only taken a couple of hours, but the cloud has blown away, and it's a beautiful afternoon. It's lunchtime, Tuesday. And what I'll do is I go on a walk and talk. I think the direction of the breeze has changed. It's more now an easterly, which probably allows us to understand how this cloud was blown away, because before it was coming from the south and now it's blowing from the east, so blowing it back inland. Anyway, let's go on a walk and talk, and I want to do a book summary today. And the book that I'm going to talk to you about is entitled Rest. Rest, a beautiful word, Rest, by Alex Soojung Kim Pang. I think that's the name of one person, kind of hoping it is, but I'll assume it is. So the author here kicks off the book with an observation I think that most of us probably understand and appreciate. And he says that society tells us that the path to success is through hard work and long hours. I guess most people have been brought up with that sort of mindset, that we need to work long hours, and we need to work hard, and basically we need to focus all of our efforts and attention on work in order to succeed. But we also learn through our lives that sort of attitude and that sort of commitment also comes at a price. If you're working too hard, then you're not going to get an opportunity to socialise. And if you don't socialise, you're not going to make friends. And if you don't have friends, then chances are you may not meet your life partner. And if you haven't got a life partner, then you may not have an opportunity to have children and all of that. So it's all a bit of a link in a chain. So we need a bit of balance. You need to, in order to have a little of everything, so that we can live a complete life with not too much of the one thing, because too much of the one thing, I guess, gets boring after a while, especially when you start reflecting and looking at the years that have passed and basically asking yourself, what could have been should I have had a different focus in those earlier years, where I could also work hard and also play hard as well. But the author here reminds us that you don't really need to work hard, because deliberate rest is critical to creativity and effectiveness. So the author here is basically giving us a wake-up call that we shouldn't get sucked into that mindset that you need to work long hours. Now, I've worked in many organisations and I've put in many hours over the years, but was I effective, or was I as effective as what I could have been? Probably not, is my answer in hindsight. But when you're young, when you're under pressure, when you're trying to impress your peers, your manager and everybody else, and also when the culture of the organisation that you're working in is all about long, hard working hours, then you basically don't have a choice, is one of the observations that I have. But I've also seen over the years that the people who work extremely long hours are also the ones who are at risk of burning out and of not lasting the distance, because a career is not just 1 year or 5 years, it's 25 or 35 years. So you need to be there at the end. You need to have your best energy and your most creative bursts when you need it most. And if you've been working long, hard hours all your life, then you're going to be lethargic, burnt out, but also the people around you, your social circle, your family, your friends, are not going to be able to rely on you, because work is always going to be taking up your time, your effort, your energy, and you're always going to be distracted and never present socially when you're with your loved ones or with your family and friends as well. So the author is suggesting here a change in attitude, a different sort of aspect, and is saying that what we should be doing is not trying to work 12 hours really, really hard, but to work hard for about 4 hours a day, because under most circumstances, if you work really, really hard for 4 hours and focused for 4 hours, then chances are that you'll be able to not only do the work that you normally do in 10 hours, but you'll do it without stress, without effortlessly, and you'll do it with ease. Because we need to be careful, because society has primed us to believe that hard work equals success. But we know very well, especially these days with technology, with leverage, with tools, that we can basically get tremendous leverage and productivity by working smarter. And according to some scientists these days and workflow analysts, they say that the 9 to 5 workday is now outdated, because productivity plummets with long hours and hard work. So what you're able to achieve within the hours that you've got available to you actually decreases throughout the day, until you get to the point where you're just ticking the box and going through the motion, but not being all that productive. In the meantime, I guess, is the key learning to come from this book. So let's go around here to the International Passenger Terminal and see the ferries taking off. So the author reminds us and lets us know, and I agree with this as well, that you'll get more done in 4 focused hours if you work them per day, 4 focused hours, because 4 diligent hours is better than 10 distracted hours. So how do we live a life? How do we work without being distracted? I guess is the biggest sort of challenge that we all face, because there's plenty of distractions out there, and we're our own worst enemy, because we're unable to say no, we're unable to stay focused for long enough to not be harassed or basically influenced by all of the distractions that come into our day from different sources. But also the importance, and we've got the long weekend coming up, we've got the Easter long weekend coming up. The author here reminds us that rest is just as important as work for your productivity. So we need to balance our work day, our output, our work hours, our focus, with the amount of time that we also allocate for rest. And the author talks about the importance of when you have your lunch break, don't stay at your desk, go for a walk, take your lunch break. I just can't believe over the years how many organisations, corporate organisations that I've worked in, where most people don't take their lunch, or they'll take their lunch at their desk. which is not really getting a break, because the phone will ring, the email will pop up, and your boss will come over and interrupt. Somebody else will see you at your desk and come and ask you a question. So you're not getting a physical or a mental break from the workload that you're involved with. The other thing that the author talks about here is that there is an importance of taking a break in the middle of a problem. I know that I've been working for a number of years, and when I'm working on something and I'm focused, I get really, really into it. So much so that time just flies, and I'm there for many, many hours, and I just can't break away from it, because I'm in the zone. I'm in the zone, and I'm pumping away at my work, and I'm really, really happy doing it. But what the author says that when you're working, when you're focused, when you're in the zone, sometimes the best thing to do is to just drop tools, down tools, and take a welcome break from what you're doing, because that break in the middle of a problem allows you to find more creative solutions. But how does that work? How does it work? How do you think it works? But the author tells us that the way it works is that once you take a break and your brain has some downtime, during that downtime where you're distracted doing other things and relaxing and basically recreating, recreation. The word recreation means something really profound and powerful, because when you're in recreation, when you're chilling out, what your brain is doing in the downtime is it's getting creative, and it's producing solutions which are happening at your subconscious level. So there is a benefit in not extending yourself and taking a break, because it allows you to access your subconscious to come up with some wonderful, innovative solutions that are not available to you when you're focused, working, thinking logically, and basically stressed, panicked, and overextended. So once again, the message here is that when you take a break, you allow your subconscious to mull over the problem. And this mulling over the problem at the subconscious level allows you to come up with the most creative and best solutions. So once again, when we stop working, our subconscious brain continues to work on the task, but not at the conscious level. It works at the subconscious level, which is really, really powerful, and a powerful lesson for each and every one of us. So don't fear switching off, don't fear taking a break, don't fear taking a nap and sleeping on it, because when you're sleeping on it, your subconscious is working on solving your problems that have yet to be solved. Because I've said time and time again, we humans are teleological in nature, which means that when we've posed a problem, we just work on it until we come up with a solution. We want to get completion to anything that's troubling us. So getting completion, getting closure is another way of describing it. A lot of people say that they need to get closure when they've had a falling out with somebody, or they've got a problem that hasn't been solved. They want to close it so that they can forget about it and move on. So the last formal point to come out of this wonderful book is where the author talks about the importance of deep play, because deep play can give us relief to challenging situations. So taking frequent and dedicated breaks is really, really important, because deep play is where we do something other than work, So we have a break from work and we just focus on something else. And deep play is described as enjoyable activity that immerses the mind and connects us with our past and with what we've been doing. So deep play, according to the author, provides us with relief because we're still using our brains to work out solutions, but not in a stressed state. Church, deep play was painting, cooking, climbing, meditating. Deep play where they can drift away, do something else without stressing out, and by doing it in a calm, relaxed, enjoyable state, then what they're doing there is they're allowing their brain to also think of solutions for other problems that they have in their lives. So you're killing two birds with one stone is the message. So wow, thank you very much for joining me today on Jim's 5am Club, where we went through the book entitled Rest by Alex Soojung Kim Pang. And we'll finish off with a positive affirmation. I'm alive, I'm well, I feel absolutely great. To my friends and family, stay connected, stay relevant, stay reasonable, and let's invest as best we can in rest and recreation, and not to fear working fewer hours as long as those hours are focused, because by working fewer hours and by resting and by recreating, you're allowing your brain to come up with innovative, creative solutions at a fraction of the time it would take your logical, rational mind to come up with these solutions. And in many cases, you won't even come up with these solutions, because many people, when they're working in a stressed environment, when they're tired, when they're subjected to many requests, they're operating and they're multitasking, and they can't really focus on anything in particular. Their brains flick into the fight or flight response, and their reptilian brain takes over as opposed to their neocortex, which means that they're not going to be thinking rationally about solutions, and all they're going to be doing is just working without even understanding what they're working at and why they're doing what they're doing. They just want to tick the box and hopefully come up with a solution or appear to be busy, as opposed to being effective and efficient. So I guess I'll leave it there. So thank you very much for joining me on this lunchtime version of Jim's 5am Club on this beautiful autumn day. I look forward to coming to you again from a different location with a different message, where we can learn something new, share something, and help us get through the morning, get through the day, so that we can continue to be the wind beneath our wings, where we can live, learn, and pass it on, and be better versions of ourselves every single day. And to look at life, to look at relationships, to look at people, to look at problems with a fresh set of eyes every day, and not to depend on the perceptions and the attitudes that we may have had yesterday, because each day is a fresh start for each and every one of us, and we need to give each other the respect and the support that we need in order to do what we need to do to achieve what we want to achieve. So yasas, Filakya from Jim's 5am Club, and we'll chat again shortly. Bye for now. Cheers.